Welcome back to Check Out the Stat by your girl, Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby. So today, we got to talk about the Mavs versus the Timberwolves. We're going to talk about a music video about an NFL player divorcing his WNBA player wife and a new league coming for the girls. But first, I've got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog, you can earn money by making picks on your favorite players. You can try the app in California, Texas, and New York, and the list goes on. If you want to play along, go download Underdog Fantasy, use code STAT. They'll match your deposit up to $100, and you'll get a special pick. So we're going to start the top of the show with not a Superwoman of the week, but my Superwomen of the week. So my Superwomen of the week today are the two-time MVP and two-time WNBA champion, Breanna Stewart, and five-time All-Star, Napheesa Collier. Okay, so got to do a little background so I can keep y'all up to speed. So Breanna currently plays for the New York Liberty and was the first overall pick in 2016. She's hand down one of the best players in the league if you're watching this season right now. She's killing it. Granted, they lost 2 games, but it's okay. She's still doing what she can do for the team. So let me read her stats before we get into what she is doing for the league. So she's a WNBA MVP in 2018, WNBA Finals MVP. She was the WNBA scoring leader in 2022, all WNBA first team in 2018, 2020, 2021, and 2022. 4-time WNBA All-Star, and the list goes on. Her current stats for this current season, she's averaging 18.6 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now let's get on to Miss Collier. She plays for the Lynx, and it's funny because the Lynx literally just beat the New York Liberty, but they're business partners, and business is business. She was a 6th overall pick in the 2019 WNBA draft. She was all WNBA second team in 2020 and Rookie of the Year in 2019. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, that was a little tongue twister, but I wanted to keep y'all up to speed, give y'all a little crash course, so now we can dive into what they are doing. So they both shared that they will be introducing a new basketball league called Unrivaled. This will offer the highest average salary in women's pro team sports history. And we know WNBA players are averaging about 100,000. So the fact that out of all the women's sports, this is going to be the highest average salary, this is a big deal. There's a lot of money involved. I'm sure a lot more people going to be involved. So let's get into the details of this new league. So it's supposed to start in January of 2025 in Miami, which is the best place to start a league because they're going to be doing it in the winter. And as we know, Miami doesn't have a winter. It's still a smooth 80 and 90 degrees. It's going to be warm. So those girls will be balling from the summertime to the wintertime in the hot weather. So it's supposed to feature the top 30 athletes, including All-Stars. WNBA All-Star weekend is coming up in the summer, so we'll get to see who those players will be. They will play 3-on-3 and 1-on-1 teams. The average salary will be 6 figures, which is the highest ever in a women's sports league. As we know now, as the WNBA is getting a lot more traction, girls are starting to get that pay rate, with endorsements, in-season play, and their salary, but it's still not where it needs to be, especially when we see these NBA players signing these multi-million-dollar contracts per year. So they're getting there. It's a slow grind, but I'm seeing a lot more progress than I had seen before. And the dopest thing that I think about this league is that players will have equity in the league. They will have something that they can own personally to their name to create their own generational wealth. I think that has been the big topic lately, creating your own generational wealth, making sure that you're owning things. Hence, Angel Reese, having equity in a women's pro soccer league. So I like that the girls are stepping foot more into this type of business venture. Okay, so Stewart said that the main thing of this league was compensation, and that was key for the players because a lot of them spend their off seasons overseas to make sure that they're keeping that check come in. As we've seen, the WNBA is not no game. This league is ruthless. They are not taking it easy on rookies, and they're not even taking it easy on vets. And, they still got to make sure that they are continuing to make money because money is not always guaranteed. I mean, we even just saw, a couple players just get cut. I mean, Deasia Fair just got cut from the Aces. not too long ago after she was just drafted in this draft that just passed. Maybe played a game or two. I don't even think she had as many minutes, and now she's already getting cut. So these girls are trying to find other ways to make profit, make money, and have more money to their name. So this league is a great way to do that. So let's talk specific numbers, right? The average WNBA base salary is about $130,000, and all-stars can make up to $500,000 with marketing agreements, in-season tournament, and bonuses, just to kind of reiterate what I had said earlier. And the cool thing about this is that we've seen 3-on-3 basketball on the rise. It is now being introduced to the 2024 Paris Olympics. We've seen Ice Cube introduce his big three. So now there's going to be, a women's-led, women-owned big three. Let's not call it big three. 3-on-3 game for women players to be able to participate in. So I think it's pretty cool that these players will now be able to make a lot more money. And I'm telling y'all already, it's just the beginning. Okay, so those are my Superwoman of the Week. Make sure y'all tap in because there's going to be a lot more to come from both of them. Okay, so now let's get into this Mavs versus Timberwolves game. Okay, so we know that a game 5 was forced, and I am not impressed at all. I don't understand what happened this game, so I'm going to break down. I had to write notes because I'm watching the game, and I'm frustrated. I'm irritated, but I'm like, we got to talk about it today. So to start, Ant-Man should have never said, bring your ass. I know he was talking to Charles Barkley, but when he said, bring your ass for Charles Barkley, the Mavs brought their ass, and they showed out in this game. So the Mavs went on to beat the Timberwolves 124-103. From first quarter, I think we saw the way that this game was going to go. If you are specifically a Timberwolves fan or you are specifically an Ant-Man fan, I understand having delusion for your team or your favorite player. I mean, we have all these headlines saying, Ant-Man is next up, which I don't doubt that. I wouldn't put that against him. But a strong conversation truly can be made for Luka. I don't know what exact marketing is going behind it. We see Ant-Man being ruthless. Luka can be pretty ruthless too. He was going off on Snoop Dogg in the stands. If I can find that clip, we're going to place that clip right here.
And look, you got the words with Snoop right now. Snoop appreciating the...
But yeah, Luka be talking in his language, Slovenian language. Don't know if I mispronounced it or said it correctly, but y'all get the gist. He be cutting up. Just because we understand what Ant-Man's saying, don't mean Luka not cutting up too. So the Mavs picked up the momentum quickly, which gave them a huge point advantage early on in the first quarter. Already before the first quarter even ended, which he did end with this many points, but there's about 2-3 minutes left. Luka had already dropped 20 on y'all asses. Luka did not come to play. He was visibly frustrated in game 4 with his performance. He said he needed to step it up, and he took no time to step it up in this game. And let me just talk to Nas Reed real quick. He already was 0-2, was missing the ball. He really needed to get back in action, and I just didn't like the performance that he was giving. Early on in the first quarter, the Timberwolves didn't have a lot of confidence starting off, and we saw the slow decline the Timberwolves had as the game continued. It was great to see Derek Lively back in action. I think that the Mavs had their pieces together, and this is exactly why they took the dub. So, boom. The saying, pressure gonna make a pipe burst. The pipe had bursted because it was all over the Timberwolves' face. They just didn't seem sound on the court. And then Nas Reed gonna give Derek Lively whiplash in the second quarter, hurting the man, and then he had to go sit out. He just got back from an injury. We not trying to see anybody get hurt. Now you got Derek Lively on the ground. It's payback time, and that is exactly what happened. And Nas Reed is real lucky he didn't get ejected because they gave him a cute little foul. Could have got a cute little ejection, which didn't even need to happen because we saw the way that the game was going early on, which is the point that I'm making now. So boom, halftime comes around. At halftime, Luka and Kyrie combined outscored the entire Timberwolves team. Luka and Kyrie had 44 points. The Timberwolves had 40 at halftime. This stat is insane. And what's even more insane is y'all know Twitter gonna talk. I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to diss people because all you can do is give your all. I'm not an NBA player. I know what goes on in the mental, and I know how frustrating it gets. But what you post gonna follow you. And what happened was Anthony Edwards made a post on his Instagram story when the Mavs were playing the Suns, which we all know that was a real bad game. That was a game 7. We were expecting a good game. They got blown out bad, real bad. And Anthony Edwards decided to call him out, which is fair, okay? This is not an Ant-Man problem because a lot of players are calling out other players during the finals. Everybody's tapped in. We're watching. I'm seeing John Morant give his flowers to Luka. Trae Young is making comments. Everybody's tapping in. So it's not bad that he tapped in. It's just bad that when you were once in a situation that you was talking about, that's the situation you are now in because the Mavs had a real good lead on the Timberwolves, right? So boom. Then we go to third quarter. This is when Luka feeling himself. He's going, he's doing his little thing, okay? This is when he yells at Snoop Dogg. I guess somebody in the audience made like a crying face. This man didn't speak in foreign this time. He spoke in English. He said, "Who's crying, motherfucker?" to Snoop Dogg. And y'all seen the clip. He did not come to play. So basically, even before halftime, we saw the outcome of where this game was going. In the Timberwolves' luck, they didn't get blown out completely. They got a game in, which helps Ant-Man's legacy because you don't want to go 0-4. But it's still the principle, right? So looking at the game overall, Derek Lively, and I spoke about him before, and it's real funny because I spoke about him earlier in the year on one of my earlier episodes, rookies that you should look out for. You know, I talked about Jaime, but I definitely spoke about Derek Lively. I said he's a good piece for the Mavs. He was feeling his footing, transitioning in very well as a rookie, playing his part, okay? Mavs got a good core. He found his spot with that core. So he shot 16 for 16, 100% from the field in the conference finals. That man doesn't miss, clearly. According to the stats, he don't miss. That's the most field goals attempted without a miss in any playoff series in NBA history. That's a crazy stat by a rookie. Mr. Derek Lively, you did your thing. Here's a round of applause because you deserve it. So he's definitely a rookie that needs to be watched. I said it earlier on because he's going to continue to be a problem. And these rookies are stepping their A game up, okay? Like we've talked before about them not having that dog, which don't get me wrong. I think we could see more of it, but I think they're playing it nicely and playing their part. I think when you are a rookie and you come out flashy and you come out talking crazy, it makes you a little less likable. I mean, we've seen, these reporters talking about certain players being unlikable. Nobody wants that tagline that I'm an unlikable person and not cool to work with. You want to ease into it. And as soon as you get your awards and get your points up, then you can talk your shit. So I think in a few years from now, we're going to see a lot of players talking their shit because we've seen what happened to Ant-Man. Not to use him as an example because I think Ant-Man's fire. One of my favorite players in the league right now. But when you get to talking, people use that against you. And it's not the time to have that attention on you. You feel me? Okay, and then Luka's stat, he had more 30-point playoff games than 98% of all players in NBA history. He was cooking everybody. You can call him Chef Luka because Chef Luka was at the pot. And the only duos in NBA history to record 30-plus points in a game to advance to the finals. This is the list. Kobe and Shaq in 2002. Kyrie and LeBron in 2016. And Kyrie and Luka in 2024. So we see that Kyrie is a main contribution to this team, which we already knew. And there's a lot of discussion saying put some respect on Kyrie's name because when this stuff was happening before, there was a lot of people saying this and that and this about Kyrie. But regardless of what you feel or what you think, his game is undeniable. He is that guy. He has a stat with Kobe and Shaq, and then he's the other one missing piece to Luka. So he's been doing his thing. But now we will see the Mavs head to play the Celtics, which the finals game 1 will be on June 6th. I'm excited for this one. I think that this is going to be real good competition. I know earlier in the year I was saying that I felt like the Celtics were going to stay on top. I didn't make my NBA finals prediction now. I've seen a lot of different things. I think that this is going to be a tough one. Celtics a little wishy-washy for me. I think it's going to be a close game. But I'm not ready to say who I think is going to come off on top yet. But in the comments, let me know who you guys think is going to win the finals because I'm curious on you guys' thoughts. It's going to take me a little bit of time to get my thoughts together, But in the meantime, let me know y'all's. So we're going to go to break. And when we return, we will get into Ain't No Way.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, is there...
I was selling crack on a private jet up in the...
I didn't get the shout out to Dipset Couture. Make sure you go online to dipsetcouture.us to order some shirts and everything else, buddy.
So I'm gonna get some cheeks after this horsepower.
Jewelry and bikes, nigga. Black Benzes and white Vigors. Now I'm out here and I'm looking for more chandeliers and light fixtures. Nah, I don't like niggas. What's wrong with me? I'm a hype nigga, but this 44 turn to Michael Jordan. Now I'm looking, say, take flight, nigga.
Welcome back. Now we're going to get into Ain't No Way, where we talk about the crazy things that have happened this week. Ain't No Way. Darren Waller dropped a song and music video after his divorce with WNBA star Kelsey Plum. Okay, so I'm not going to show a whole bunch of clips of the music video because you can check it out for yourself. And I'm sure he'll be hyped to know that people are tuning in. But my thing is, why did nobody tell you that this was not a good idea? Okay, I understand both sides. Homeboy should have told you, hey, this music ain't cutting it. And I'm not no music expert, but I know when a song sounds good and doesn't. Because there's plenty of songs where dudes be crying for their girls. You know, we got Blackstreet saying, don't leave me, girl. Like, you know, there's different ways to do it. Brent Fires does it all the time. Bryson Tiller does it all the time. I'm so sorry to tell you that you are not that guy. I'm sure you got more music on the way. We can go hear it when it comes. But this, my guy, this was a little different. Okay, so the other side is saying that he's expressing himself. You know, women do it all the time. Why can't he say how he feels? Nobody's saying that he can't say how he feels. It's the fact that if you're going to say how you feel, you got to sound good. Okay, so let me catch y'all up to speed on what exactly is going on, because you're like, Darren Waller, Kelsey Plum, like, what's the connection here? Okay, so I don't want to have to be nosy, but I got to be nosy to catch y'all up to speed. They call me Stat Baby for a reason, because I got to have the stats to tell y'all what's going on. So if you didn't know, Darren Waller is now a tight end for the Giants, used to play for the Raiders, got traded. And we know Kelsey Plum plays for the Aces. She previously held the NCAA scoring record before Caitlin Clark broke it recently. So the funny thing is, they were on a podcast doing an interview, and they met right here in this studio that I'm sitting at. This is exactly the first time that they met. Then they kept the relationship private, got married in March of 2023. And then basically right after they got married, had their honeymoon. As soon as they're coming back from their honeymoon, Darren Waller gets traded to New York. Distance, cool. I'm not going to get into the details of the relationship because that's not my business to know. We ain't talking about the details and what happened in between. We're talking about the music video. Okay, so they ended up filing for a divorce in April of 2024. Very recent, but you know, football season's taking a little break right now, but you know, they still have training and stuff like that. WNBA season is in full swing, and this is one of the most hot commodity seasons we've seen in a minute because of, you know, all the buzz happening in the league. So I'm sure a lot there was going on. So Kelsey Plum ended up posting, "One day I'll share my story. Today is not that day." She said, "Thank you for the grace to process my pain, to forgive and move forward. Today and every day, I will continue to choose joy. Much love, AP." That was after the divorce. It was confirmed. We know that. Cool, cute. The problem is the music video, okay? So if you look at the music video, that man is singing. He's singing his heart out, rapping, whatever you want to call it. Whatever genre he wants to call that, he did that, okay? And if that's how he's feeling, I can't knock that. But what I can knock is, why would you have a fake, and this is according to reports, this is according to, you know, social media, what people are saying. I do not know Darren Waller personally, and I don't know, you know, the inspiration behind it. Well, I'm 99% sure the inspiration behind it was the divorce, which is what we now know. He had a fake Kelsey Plum in the video as he's singing. Whose idea was that? And I'm all for trying new things. I'm all for going for what you want in this life. But it's crazy. It's real crazy. So shout out Kelsey Plum. Darren, you're going to have to drop a part 2 because I think people want answers. At the end of the day, your life is your life. And if that's what made you feel good, more power to you. Okay, so now you got to get into Tell Me What's Up, because the stats wouldn't be the stats without questions and answers from you. just one quick thing that you guys wanted me to discuss. So a chart came out talking about the 2016 and 2017 NBA draft. It's real interesting because I didn't even realize that the first 4 picks were the same each year in a row. So first pick was the Sixers, second Lakers, third Celtics, fourth the Suns. This was the same for 2016 and the same for 2017. So the stat that people were talking about is the third pick by the Celtics in 2016 was Jaylen Brown. In 2017, the pick was Jason Tatum. Now, the thing that people are upset about is out of all the picks that could have been taken, the Sixers had the first pick twice in a row, 2016 and 2017. They chose Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz. I'm not trying to diss nobody, but this is why Sixers fans get real frustrating because y'all have all the pieces there to make things happen and some just never hits right. I don't know what it is. Front office got to make better decisions. And I know they've had a lot of things happen in between. I get that. Not everything's in their control. But just imagine if they would have chose Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum now knowing that they have Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, a lot of other swaps in between. Like, just imagine how their team could have been at this point right now. But the Celtics came out on top. This is exactly why they are the organization that they are, because they're winners. Okay? And it's like, this isn't even a Celtics praise episode. Like, they just made really good decisions. Shout out to them. But it's just real crazy when you look back and see what could have happened versus what is happening. So it's a lot to unpack. I want to know you guys' thoughts and how would you guys have felt if the Sixers had Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum now knowing what we know now. But that is it for today's episode. Y'all can hashtag check out the stats so we can continue the discussion next week. And maybe your question or take will be featured. Thanks for hanging out with me and checking out the stats. I'll see y'all next week.